welcome back to Love Your Food. So after last week's cake recipe, this week we're going to be showing you the frosting we're using for this one. So this week we are doing a lemon Swiss buttercream. So we've done a plain buttercream before. This is a slightly different style of buttercream. This is the Swiss buttercream, so we're going to go through our ingredients. So obviously we're going to be using some butter, rather a lot of butter. We have some eggs. We're going to be using the juice and zest of a lemon, some sugar, as well as some salt, just a tiny little bit of salt. So we're going to start by just giving a good, we're going to zest the whole lemon. We want to get all of the zest off of one lemon. Now, this is a fair-sized lemon that we're using here. It was just about the right amount of zest. And then we're also going to be juicing that same lemon, and it happened to be pretty juicy, so we got a lot out of that one. Now we're going a little off the traditional recipe for the Swiss buttercream. We're using a little bit more liquid than typical because we're using all of the juice from this lemon. Now into our mixing bowl we're going to add the sugar and salt, and then as our flavoring we're going to start adding some of that lemon juice. Now we used a little bit more than is typical for this recipe. We used maybe almost double what is normally used for a flavoring in this recipe, which sometimes if you're adding liquid to something like this can have an effect, but it honestly worked out very well for us, so we were lucky. We're going to separate our eggs because we're only going to be using the whites for this portion. And you do want to make sure that you're separating them not directly over your mixing bowl, because if you get any yolk in there at all, this whole process will not work very well. All right, so over a double boiler, we are going to whisk together the egg whites, the sugar and salt. And this is going to very gently cook it for a while we're whipping it. And so we're going to get this all the way to this beautiful, very, very thick, frothy mixture here. Now, it's not really going to get as far as even soft peaks, but you can see it's quite inflated. It's got a lot of air incorporated. And once it's reached the right temperature, and again, all of the instructions are going to be in the description below. Once it's reached the right temperature and it is cooked, we are going to start whipping it. And you can see it does have quite a lot of texture at this point, so we whisk that over our double boiler. We've got it cooked. Once it's cooked, we are going to hit that with our whisk attachment on our stand mixer. And typically what you would do is you would whisk this until it is cool, until it's reached about room temperature. And you can see here it is much cooler now. And then we're going to start adding our butter in. So we can just add that butter in small bits at a time and just whisk until it's completely incorporated. So we added that in just small pieces until it was completely incorporated. Now we didn't wait until ours got completely cold or completely room temperature before we started adding the butter. So the butter actually did melt a little bit as it was being added, which is fine. This recipe is a little bit hardy for alterations like that, and you can see it does look quite loose in the mixing bowl here. But just keep mixing it, and it will come back together. Nothing's separated or anything. We don't have a layer of like butterfat or anything, so it's fine. And you can see here we're already at soft peaks on this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add our lemon zest. So we're just going to toss that in there. We're going to scrape down the sides to make sure that we're getting everything down into our buttercream. And you can see it has thickened up quite significantly in the last little bit of beating there. Just make sure we get everything off of our scraper. And then we are going to start whisking that again. And we're going to keep that medium-high speed for this. and just keep whisking that until it is come together like this. And so here you see it is definitely at stiff peaks at this point. Now we had a little bit of a problem with a clump of lemon zest stuck to our beater, but that's fine. You can just mix that in manually. You can see here, though, it has come together quite thick, beautiful and rich. Now, this will set even further once you put it in the fridge, and we're going to use that to cover that beautiful lemon genoise that we made last week. So if you find that it's quite stiff coming out of the fridge, let it get a little closer to room temperature, break it up, and then you can always whisk it again to bring it back to a spreadable sort of state. That's just fine with this recipe. It will work just, and that's what actually we did when we made these cakes. So if you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. And remember to love your food.